Welcome back, you beautiful, beautiful ingrates. I love you guys. This is my second cup of the big stuff today, and I'm telling you what, I'm revved up, so let's get right into it. Today on the channel, we're going back to our roots. Is living in Greece better than living in America? Yeah, absolutely. You see this cold stuff behind me? Yeah, I never get this in Greece. I have to travel to a mountain somewhere up north to get this kind of hellish weather, right? This bleak landscape. That is freaking good coffee today. But today I want to talk about a couple of the reasons why it's better to live in Greece than it is to live in America. Other than the obvious reasons, the beaches, the beautiful women, the better than average food. Because I think that a lot of the reasons why it's better to live in Greece are reasons that you should obviously just go live either there or somewhere else. Because there's a lot of places that are like Greece. They're just as beautiful. They may not have the same historical importance that appeals to me, that draws me there, but there are definitely places that maybe you want to think about moving to. The thing that everyone's talking about these days, cost of living. Cost of living in Greece compared to America is freaking nothing. I've been here for 3-4 months now, and I've climbed my way back up in the top 10%. That's something to be proud of. But does that make life in America easy? No, it does not. No, it does not. If I have $1,500 to $2,000 a month, I can live super well in Greece. Is that going to bar you from a long stay visa there? Yeah, because you need to make a little bit more than that. But if you want to go for a few months, if you want to go for 90 days and just kind of live a cheaper lifestyle that's far better than it is in America, it's a great place to go. If you do have $3,000 a month, right? If you do have that, either you're retired, you're a digital nomad, they have a digital nomad visa. It's easy to get. And unlike the long stay visa, which you have to be in America for, you can get the digital nomad visa while you're in Greece. So you don't actually have to come back to America. You can just go there, use your 90-day Schengen visa, then get your digital nomad visa, get your residency, and just chill. Get your tax number and just chill. But if we're going a little bit deeper into cost of living, if you go on the good sites, right? And if you want to know where to find good apartments, if you want to know where to find good places, just put it in the comments. I can help you out. I know some people over there that can connect you if you're looking for the golden visa. But if you are looking for a place, guess what? An apartment in, say, Piraeus, a great part of Athens. One of my favorite places on the planet, the port city attached to Athens. If you take a cruise, you're going to end up there. You're looking for a decent apartment, you're looking $400, $500, $600 for something really nice. Utilities, yeah, they're kind of high. When it comes to electricity, they're usually kind of high, but even then, it's not going to be that much. Think of it like having a winter in America, where your gas bill, your electric bill, can you hit $300, $400, $500, $600, $700 I've seen? Not for me, but other people. You're not going to get that. Even if it's hot as hell in July or August and you're running your air conditioner at 300, 400, 500%, just blasting in that cold air, you're not going to get anything that high. So let's round it up. Let's say you get a $500 apartment, right? And you're blasting your AC all the time. What? $700, $800? Compare that to what you have in America for $700, $800 a month. $700 or $800 a month, you're going to be living with somebody that you found off Craigslist, and you're going to have to sleep with one eye open. Or you can have a nice studio apartment for even cheaper, $200, $300, maybe $400. But a one-bedroom apartment in a nice part of the city where it's absolutely safe. You never have to worry about crime. If you're a woman, you can walk home at 2 o'clock in the morning, zero worries. Zero worries. And that's all the price that you're really going to have to worry about. And as far as food goes, man, we'd spend $100 at Sklavenitas, right down at Marina Zayas, and we get whatever we want for the week. I mean, whatever we want. And that's eating bougie. That's eating bougie. And on Tuesday, when they had the big street bazaars with just to the horizon of fresh vegetables, fresh Greek bread, sausages, mushrooms. I mean, the most amazing grapes that you can have, you spend $20, $30, you bring your own bag and you can fill it to the brim. And it all tastes amazing. It's not super, super ultra sweet like it is here in America because it's not crazy genetically modified. It goes bad when you buy it. If I buy an apple in America, I might be able to eat that apple 2 months later. That orange, I've seen oranges last months. That shouldn't be how it is. And if you're looking at travel around Greece is pretty easy. If you're in the city, I've made videos on it. The metro system in Athens is spectacular. It can be a little dodgy sometimes, yeah, but I've never seen any issues on it at all. I've never seen any fights. I have seen huge problems while living in the DC area. You know, that's kind of where I'm from. The metro is something that I know. And the metro can be dangerous, can be very dangerous. There's always people on drugs on there. There's always people trashed. You know, there's a bunch of people just not doing anything good. You don't really get that unless maybe on some parts of the Green Line they say, but I lived in the ghetto for like, I don't know, 6 months while I was there. The ghetto, never saw a problem. Never saw a problem. Even the worst parts of Athens, I'd say are safer than some of the safest parts of our major cities. It's just the crime, it doesn't relate. It's not the same thing. And we'll get to that. But as far as getting around, yeah, the metro is super cheap, like $8 for like the week, right? And that's using the metro as much as you want. You don't have to get anything like that. You can get an actual card. It can be cheaper. The only time it's actually going to be expensive is when you're trying to go to the airport. And even still, I can't remember. I think it's like $20 to get to the airport. It's either that or you're going to take like an hour to hour and 20 minute taxi ride, which even then is still going to be like $50. I had it 45. If you're coming from the airport, it's going to be around that or a little bit more expensive, but still nothing crazy. Try being in London and taking an Uber outside of the city. Try landing in Dulles Airport outside of DC and taking an Uber into DC. You want to talk about like price shock. But no, the taxis are super safe. They're super regulated. You know, when you call an Uber there, you get a taxi. I mean, there are tips and tricks to be smart, and I did make a video on that. So if you're thinking about going there, have a look at that. As far as going around, there is a national railway system that you can go north and south. That's super cheap. You might as well just get first class, get your own cabin. And if I remember right, that's still under $100. Or you can just fly. You can fly anywhere. Once you're in Greece, if you want to travel more, try traveling in the United States. Try flying anywhere. If you get 3-4 weeks in advance, yeah, maybe, you know, it can be cost effective. You can fly somewhere for like $200, $300, $400, talking about a round trip. Try doing that in Europe, right? If it's just you in a backpack, and say you're in Athens, I want to go to London for the weekend. I want to go to that hellhole, right? And go check that out. Or I want to go to Munich, or I want to go to Vienna. Beautiful, go to Vienna. If it's just you in a backpack, I don't know, $50, you know, $60, $70 for a round trip, nothing. Absolutely nothing in comparison to here. Even renting a car is cheaper. You can get a car. I'd get a car from, I think it was Hertz. You know, I always got a car from Hertz, and it'd be like $35, $45 a day. And that'd be on an island. You know, we'd go to Rhodes, which has the largest inhabited medieval city in, I think, the world. And it's amazing, and it's beautiful. And you can get an electric bicycle, and you can just ride around the entire city. And it takes a long time to do that because it is that big. But going there and renting the car, it was like $35 a day for like a nice car. And we ride all over the place, and gas wasn't that bad. And all the cars there are pretty much diesel, so you know, it's not something you really have to worry about. So you can go there, you can find a place, you can eat whatever you want, you can travel around, and you can still do all that without going really over the $2,000. If you have the Nomad visa, if you have the financially independent visa, which I think is $3,100, $3,200 a month guaranteed, and you can't work while you're there, that's just like, that's what you have. You know, and you can stay there for a year, and you can keep getting it after that for, I don't know if it's indefinitely, but definitely for a long enough time that it makes it worth it. You know, you can definitely do all that for under $3,000 and live like a king, live an amazing life. And try to do that in America for $2,000, $3,000 a month. It's not possible. Unless you have $2,000, $3,000 a month and you live in your parents' basement and they're not charging you rent, yeah, you can't do that in the States. I don't care where you live in America. It's not possible for you to live that kind of lifestyle unless you're living in a van. And I don't recommend that because you're essentially a homeless person. In my eyes, van life, it's cute. If you're like a hot blonde girl in her 20s, yeah, you know, it's quirky, it's neat. But you meet van life people, and after a while, after like 3, 4, 5 years, they start getting strange. That van starts looking a little bit weird, has a little bit of like, you know, Zodiac-esque kind of writing all over it. You know, people need to have social lives. You can't get that in a van. But as I was talking about, when we were talking about transportation, safety. I'm a social guy. We go out. You know, we have friends. We meet people. You can talk to random people at a bar. It's not really a thing in Greece, but you know, but people are amenable. People are, we use a fancy word, gregarious, you know? People are socially affable. And people are just kind of friendly when you talk to them. And it doesn't matter who it is, right? When you're talking to like an old person, an old guy, an old lady, if you're talking to like a young dude, if you're talking to like, you know, a hot barista or anything, everyone's just kind of nice. And I don't know why that is, but they just are. In America, it's just there's smug entitlement that you get from everyone. And it's always like there's kind of this underwriting possibility of violence in most interactions that you have that aren't business related. That's not something you have to worry about in a place like Athens. That's not something you have to worry about if you're in Heraklion. That's not something you have to worry about if you're in Rhodes. Now, if they're gypsies, yeah, leave the gypsies alone. You know, don't talk to the gypsies. They're not quirky. They're not nice people. You know, they just kind of stay away from them. But that's the only kind of crime you really got to worry about. When I was in Greece, the biggest crime that happened when I was staying there that I was aware of was a criminal organization hijacked a truck full of olive oil. That is the most Greek thing I've ever heard of. It's the most Greek thing I've ever heard of. If that's like kind of your big crime, and yeah, you do get like, you know, you get kind of like riots, big protests. Greek people protest and they love graffiti. So yeah, maybe graffiti, you know, if you get wrapped up in a protest, but it's not like the ones that happened a few years ago in America where they're just burning cities down. No, it always just kind of happens in like Syntagma Square. They square off with the cops, and everyone goes and has a drink. Pretty simple stuff. Even if you're in like Ammonia or something like that, a place where there is a drug problem and there is, I guess you can call it actual crime, I guess. It's still far safer than it is going to the worst part of any city in America. Any city. Do you have to worry about pickpockets in some places? They say you do. I've never dealt with it. I've never worried about it, and I've been pretty much all these tourist places. But then again, I kind of blame that on the tourists. You're like, oh, that's victim blaming. Okay, well, maybe you shouldn't have your phone hanging out of your pocket. Maybe you shouldn't have your wallet in your back pocket. This is a very American thing, I feel like. The wallet in the back pocket. Because I mean, you're just asking to be pickpocketed at that point. And like I said, gypsies are a thing. And even if you see like groups of youths in the middle of the night and they're being loud, in America, that would be like a gang thing. There's a possibility that could be a gang thing. But in Greece, that's not what that is. It's definitely not going to be a gang thing. It's just kids being out late playing football or something like that. That's what they do. You know, maybe going and smoking a cigarette so their mom doesn't yell at them. Because kids smoking is definitely a thing there. But yeah, that's your crime. You know, kids smoking cigarettes, stealing olive oil trucks, maybe pickpocketing gypsies. Yeah, compare that crime. And of course, you have your drug people, right? And that is a problem in some places, people using drugs. But it's not the same like dangerous crime behind it, really, that anyone can kind of fall into like we have in the States or like there's in South America or anything like that. It's not even close. So yeah. That would be number 2. Greece, far safer than America, will probably ever be again. So after cost of living and everything that entails, you know, after crime or the lack thereof, the next thing I want to talk about, and I think this is the big thing, and the video I made in Greece about this got turned into a little bit of a psyop, and I felt a little bit dodgy living in that city because I got recognized a few times, and it was weird. Healthcare. Healthcare in America is a freaking joke. You know, I used to say America has the best healthcare if you can afford it. I can afford good healthcare here. And you know what? It still sucks. Give me the free, you know, give me the almost free healthcare in Greece over the wildly overpriced and expensive healthcare that I get here in America. A few weeks ago, I had 104-degree temperature. I got the new China flu that's popping around. It almost did me in, ladies and gents. It almost did me in. 104-degree temperature. I was dragged by my wife to the hospital because I'm an American and I know I'm not going to the hospital in America. I'd rather die than go in debt. And lo and behold, the bill I got, though thankfully it's covered, the bill I got, $6,000. What did you get done? You must have got some kind of operation done. Some kind of crazy drugs maybe. Who knows? We need to know. How can you get $6,000 from walking into an ER? I had to get a flu test. And some ibuprofen. Yeah, $6,000. But on top of that, they pushed me into a room and made me sit with a bunch of homeless people for 8 hours, me and my pregnant wife. And she got sick too, so that was great. Then they just kind of sat me in a chair for an hour and I had to wait, and there's one doctor working there and 10 nurses who are just walking around smiling on their phones, not doing anything. And they're like, hey, we can't really do anything. You're going to have a high fever, but just take some Tylenol, take some ibuprofen, and you'll be fine. Okay, $6,000. Thanks for that. But you want me to defend America and American healthcare? Absolutely not. No. If I walked into a hospital in Greece with 104-degree temperature, even if I had to sit there for a long time, which I've had to do in the past because, hey, I've had a lot of health issues. So I've been lucky enough to try a bunch of healthcare systems all over the world. So maybe I'm a little bit of a professional at this point and I can actually make comparisons. If I did that in Athens, if I did that in Crete, if I did that in Rhodes and I just walked into the ER, what would I have paid? Nothing. Maybe $20, you know, depending on what other kind of test I've had. But basically nothing. $6,000 for a flu test and some ibuprofen. You should be ashamed of yourself if you defend that. You should be ashamed if you think that there's nothing wrong with our healthcare system. If you're the kind of person who's like, well, you just need to have health insurance through your work, you should be ashamed of yourself. You have no empathy and you don't care about other people. And if it doesn't affect you, then, you know, good for you. But it certainly affects a lot of people out there. And there are better places. And Greece is one of them. Greece is one of them. Greece is a place where you're not going to have to worry about obscene healthcare costs. You're not going to have to worry about spending between $6,000 and $20,000 of health insurance in case something happens, just in case something happens. And I used to think that that was quite expensive, but now after having to get a flu test at the hospital, I understand, oh, maybe $6,000, maybe $20,000 in health insurance costs. Maybe that isn't bad. You might as well just pay out of pocket. You might as well just leave the country. And that's not just Greece. Greece's great rival, Turkey, kind of the same thing, right? Is the healthcare as cheap? No. But I had to go to a private hospital there because I was essentially dying. And it cost me $100 to be in an ICU room, you know, like all the care and medication that I needed, $100. Flat, even, done. For me, as a person who has choice, as a person who has responsibility, as a person who has family, as a person who cares about the future of their family, healthcare and medical costs are becoming a key aspect and a key deciding point as to why I'm probably leaving this country again. Because it is robbery. It's absolute robbery. And you know what? I'm not upset with what happened with that CEO. I think this is bellwether stuff. I think you're probably going to start seeing more of that. If you have a family, just think about it for a second here, right? Just think about it. If you have a family, right, and you have to pay $10,000, $12,000, $13,000 a year for family health insurance, that's a lot of money. Now on top of that, put some childcare costs on that, right? $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 depending on what. I heard $70,000 from a family friend, you know, for the kids that they have. How's it possible? How is it not an obvious decision to go somewhere else? When you have a problem with this, how is that you hating your country? When you point these things out, how are you the bad guy? If you hate me because I point these things out, I think that you're the bad guy. And I think you don't know it. I think that that's a shame. And I think that I don't care. I think you're just the bad guy. You should probably be kicked in Minecraft, as the kids say. So yeah, forgive me for the energetic rant that we've gone on this end, but I want to go back to basics, man. I want to go back to talking about how amazing it is to be a digital nomad, how amazing it is to live in Greece, how amazing it is to live in Thailand, how amazing it is to live in the Philippines, to live in Turkey, love Turkey, or even Mexico, which is getting more expensive, but still, like I said, in comparison, it ain't bad. But there's 1,000 different options for you out there. And there's many, many, many ways in which you can do it. So if you've been thinking that, yeah, maybe it's time, maybe between cost of living, maybe with all the crime we're seeing in America, you know, maybe with the crazy politics, which, listen, you're going to have insane politics no matter where you go in the world. You just may not notice that there's insane politics because you don't speak the language. Or maybe it's the healthcare costs. There are reasons to change your circumstances. There are reasons to change where you are living, and you shouldn't feel guilty about that. At no point should you feel guilty about that. You have to do what's best for you. You can't let other people hold you back or shame you into living the way that you want to live, especially if it's most likely the best way to live. Because under this system right now, if you're going to argue that, oh, America is the greatest country on the planet, you are full of yourself. In many ways, America is a great country, yes. But it has also been corrupted and co-opted and designed to harvest as much money from its people as possible and leave them in dire straits. And like I said, I've done well for myself. Yes, I'm not in the same amount of discomfort as a lot of people, but I can also empathize because I came from genuine hardship. And I'm not trying to have my family go back into that. I'm not trying to have my wife, I'm not trying to have my kid ever step foot in the world that I grew up in. No way in hell. I'll go happily, live in another place, I'll make money wherever I go. Doesn't matter. Do I love my country? Yes. Do I hate my country at the same time? Yeah, kinda, yeah. I think that there's a lot to hate about America, like there's a lot to love about America. And just look at the comment section. There's people, they're not like, oh, I just hate this country. And of course, there's a couple of them. But for the most part, it's like, it's not what it used to be. It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. I feel bad for this generation that has to grow up in this. I feel bad for the next generation that has to inherit what we've done. You know? Okay, I'm going to bypass that for my kid, and I'm going to take him to a place where he doesn't have to worry about that. Because that's my American dream. And because that's the American dream now. And that's what I argue. The American dream now is dead in America, unless you are freaking raking it in, unless you're making a ton of money, right? And you got to be making a ton of money because the taxes are getting, okay, that's for another video. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for stopping by and listening to this rant, this caffeine-fueled rant to the haters, that are saying, you know, if you hate this country so much, how about you just leave? Yeah, dude, that's not how it works. I paid into this to serve my country. My family served this country since what, 1618, 1619, right before it was even a country. So yeah, no, I have a right to say whatever I want because I come from one of the few families that have been here before it was a country, right? Most of the people complaining, their family's probably only been here since the early 1900s, right? You have the great story of the immigrant, yes, but don't tell me about America. This is my country. Understand that. Everyone have a great day.